Hi everyone, welcome to Live Blogger. In this video, I'll show you how to create this responsive photo gallery for your website. So first of all, let me show you a demo. This is how it will look on a desktop, and when we hover over the images, we can see we have the description of the image and the image fades out a little bit. We can see the same hover effect on all the images. Now let me show you how it looks on a mobile device. So here we can see that on a mobile device, each image is on a separate line. So we can see all the images in our photo gallery over here. And when we increase the width of our browser window, here we can see when we are on a tablet size, we can see two images in a row. So that's how it will look on a tablet, and then on a desktop it will look like this. So this is what we're going to design in this video, and in the next video I'll show you how to add this to your Blogger and your WordPress websites. So let's get started. I'm going to write the code in a code editor called Visual Studio Code. So I have opened up a project and it just has a directory called images. So if you go to images, we can see all the images that we are going to use in our photo gallery. So these are all the images of supercars. So let's go ahead and create a new file, and we'll click on this button called new file, and we'll create a new file called index.html. And we need one more file called style.css for writing the CSS. You can name these files anything you want, but the extension of the file HTML and CSS should be the same. Alright, so let's go to our index.html file, and in VS Code we have this option of just typing exclamation and pressing tab, and you have this basic HTML5 boilerplate code. So let's go ahead and link our CSS file over here by typing link and pressing tab. And in href you can just type the name of your style sheet file, style.css. Alright, the first thing we will do is we'll create a division with a class of gallery container to hold all the images in the gallery. So this will create a division with a class of gallery container, and then in that we'll have an h2 with the class of gallery heading, and I will just type supercars over here. And after that we will have a division called images container, and in that we'll have all the images and the descriptions. Now for each of the images we will have a division with a class of image. So we'll type image, and in that we'll have the image and the description. So we'll just type img, and we'll type images/1.jpg, and then here we'll have a division with the class of description, and then we'll just type some lorem ipsum text over here. Alright, this is the first image. Now let's copy this and we'll paste it 5 more times. Now you can change these images and description to whatever you want, but I'll just keep the description the same because this is just a demo, and I'll just change the images over here. So for the second image we'll have 2.jpg, for the third one we'll have 3.jpg, and 4, 5 and 6. Alright, that's it with the HTML. Now let's open this on a browser and see how it looks. So I have this extension called Live Server installed on VS Code. So you can just search for Live Server over here and install it, and then you can just right click over here on the HTML file and then click on Open with Live Server. So this is how our page looks right now. We have the images and the descriptions. Now let's go ahead and style these so that it looks the way we want it to look. So let's go to our style.css file, and first of all we'll target the gallery container, and we'll give a font family of Roboto Sans Serif. So now we can see the font has changed. Now let's go ahead and target the gallery heading. So we'll type gallery container, gallery heading, and we will give a font size of 32 pixels, text align to center, color of the text to dark gray, and text transform to uppercase. So this is our heading. Now let's target the images container, And first of all, we will set the width to 100%, and we'll set the display to grid, and we'll set the grid template columns to 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. Now this should give us 3 images in a row. So here we can see we have the first image, then the second and the third image. So we have 3 images in a row, but we also need to change the width of the image itself. So first of all, let's go ahead and target the images container img, and we'll give a width of 100%. So now we can see that the images have the 100% width of the images container. Now I'll just set a fixed height to all the images. So let's go ahead and type images container image, and we'll give a height of 300 pixels. And then for the img, we'll give a height of 100% of the parent. So the image is the parent of the img tag. And now we can see that the images have the correct height and width. But to make sure that the images are not stretched, we need to type object fit and set it to cover. Now the images will have the correct proportions. Alright, now we also need to have a gap between all these images. So let's go over here to images container, and here we will type grid gap, and we'll set it to 16 pixels. And now we can see we have a gap between all these images. Now let's also add rounded corners to these images. So we'll just type border radius of 10 pixels, and we can see that the border radius is not being applied. That is because the img tag is above our division, so the img tag doesn't have any border radius. So what we'll do is we'll just type overflow hidden. Now it will hide anything overflowing the image division. So here we can see we have the border radius applied. Now let's go ahead and style the image description. So here we will type images container image description. Now we have to position the description relative to the image. So this is the image, so we have to set the description at the bottom over here for each of the images. So first of all, in the image, that is the parent of the description, we have to type position relative, and then here we can type position absolute, and we can type bottom 0, and we can already see the description over here. Now let's type padding of 24 pixels and background color of dark gray, and the color of the text of light gray, and we'll also give a line height of 1.8 and set a font size of 16 pixels. Now the description should not be visible initially, so we'll just set an opacity of 0 and also set the bottom to -100 pixels. Right now we cannot see the description. Now when we hover over the image, we want to show the description. So we will type images container image :hover, and when we hover over it, we want to have the styles applied to the description. So we'll just type description, and we will set the opacity to 1 and bottom to 0, and we'll also add a transition so that it will have a smooth animation of 500 milliseconds. Right, now let's go ahead and see whether it works. We can see when we hover over the images, the description is being shown. Now when we show the description, we want to fade the image a little bit. So here we will type images container image :hover, and when we hover over the image division, we want to have the styles applied to the img tag. So we'll type img, and here we'll type opacity of 0.5, and we'll also give a smooth transition to the img tag. So here we'll type transition 500 milliseconds, Alright, now we can see when we hover over these images we have the desired effect. Now that's basically it with the design. Now let's go ahead and make it responsive. If you want to see the width of your browser window, then in Chrome you can just right click over here and click on inspect and then just minimize that, and now whenever you resize the browser it will show the width over here on the top. Alright, so now we can see the width is being shown. We will add a breakpoint at 1200 pixels. So we need to change the height of the image once we reach 1200 pixels of width. So for that, let's go to our CSS, and to add responsiveness to our page we can use CSS media queries. So to use that you have to type @media and then type the max width or the min width. So in our case we'll just type max width of 1200 pixels. So once the browser window is less than 1200 pixels, we want to change the height of the image division. So we'll type images container image, and here we will type height of 240 pixels. Alright, now we can see we have 240 pixels of width, and when we increase the width of the browser we can see that the height changes after 1200 pixels. Alright, the next breakpoint we want to have is at 1000 pixels, where we'll just display two images in a row. So let's go over here and let's type @media max width of 1000 pixels, and here we'll type images container, and we'll set the grid template columns to 1fr 1fr. So now let's decrease the width of our browser, and we can see once we are below 1000 pixels we just have two images in a row. Now the next breakpoint we want to have is at 800 pixels. So when we are at 800 pixels we want to change the height of our image. So let's go over here and let's type @media max width of 800 pixels, and here we'll type images container image, and we'll set the height to 200 pixels. So now we can see once the browser has a width of less than 800 pixels, the height of our image has changed to 200. Now the last breakpoint that I will add is at 650 pixels. So here we will type @media max width of 650 pixels, and here we'll type images container, and we want to display just a single image in a row. So we'll type grid template columns 1fr, and then we'll also increase the height of the image to 300 pixels. So we'll type images container image, and we'll set the height to 300 pixels. So now we can see we have just one image in a row when we are less than 650 pixels in browser width, and then when we are above 650 pixels width and less than 800 pixels, then we have two images and a height of 200 pixels for the image division, and when we are greater than 800 pixels and less than 1000 pixels, then we have a height of 240 pixels for the image division, and then once we are above 1000 pixels we have three images in a row and a height of 240 pixels, and once we are above 1200 pixels we have a height of 300 pixels. So that's basically it for this video. This is how you create a responsive photo gallery using HTML and CSS. If you have any doubts you can ask in the comments below, and if you like this video please click on the like button. I will also leave the link of the source code in the description below, and in the next video I'll show you how to add this to your Blogger and your WordPress websites. So stay tuned and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.